In this video, we're going to create this to-do React application. Hey guys, my name is Ben and welcome to Codier. This React to-do application is actually pretty simple. So you can use it to add tasks, delete all the tasks at once, and the tasks are saved in local storage. So in case you refresh the page or close the browser, the tasks are going to be there. Before we start doing the project, I would like to ask you to subscribe my channel, leave me a comment and like my video. It's going to be a huge help. Thank you guys. All right, now let's create the project. Let's create a folder called To-Do React and open the project. Let's open the terminal and we're going to open our VS Code using code dot. Now let's open the terminal in VS Code and let's write npm create vit. We're going to create our application using vit. We need the latest version of vit, latest, and let's put a dot here because we want our project to be installed in the to-do React folder. Let's choose React. We're not going to use TypeScript, JavaScript. And now that we have our application, let's npm install because we need our node modules. Let's wait. Now this was the first step. Now for the second step, let's install a package called npm install react icons. You need it because of the icons we're going to use later, the trash icon, the done icon, and so on. And now we can run the project, npm run dev. Very good. So let's take a look at our project. So as you can see, our React project works correctly. I'm going to copy this link because I want to run my project on Google Chrome. Very good. Okay. Now I put a GitHub link in the description of this video. This is the GitHub link of the project, but be careful. When you open this link and came to this page, you have to change the branch from master to a starter because the code that I put in master branch, it is the final code and I actually did anything. It is actually a dumb project. So we need the starter kit. So you're going to have to choose starter and you should open src, go to app.jsx and see the whole code and copy it. Let's go to the project. I'm going to open src. I'm going to open app.jsx and let's erase all of them and copy the code right here. So as you can see, I copied the code. Here you can delete app.css and then let's go to index.css and copy the whole code again and paste it inside this index.css. That's it. Now if you take a look at the project, it should look like this. Now you have done the first step successfully. All right, now we need to make this form work, and this is what we are here for. So this is just a simple HTML CSS template and it does nothing actually. If you type something here, if we click on this button, nothing works. But before we start working on this project, I want to show you that, do you remember we actually installed a package called React Icons? This is because of these icons. And as you can see, I already brought these icons inside the project. Be circle, be chevron down circle, and be solid trash. And I used the icons right here. If you just take a look at the template, I use the icons here. The last icon, which is this one, which is this checked task. This is actually be chevron down circle. Now, this was the reason that we installed React Icons, the package React Icons. Now, let's get to the project step by step. The first step is to create our tasks user state, const tasks, and set tasks. We're gonna set it to use state, and be careful, you need to import user state. That means you have to click on this and user state is important right now. And let's delete this React because it's not necessary to be there. and we're going to set our user state to an empty array. This is it. The second step is to create our task input use state, set task input, and this is gonna be a use state as well, and we're gonna set it to an empty string. So I created this use state for all our tasks, and I created this task input just for this value that I get from this input. Now we can create our function, add the task or add a new task. It's going to be a const add task. Now I need to give it an event, a parameter of e, and I need to, first thing I need to do is to prevent default this form, e.prevent default. And why do I do that? If you click on this add button, as you can see, the page gets refreshed, and using this prevent default, we prevent the form being refreshed, and we actually prevent the default behavior of this element. But it doesn't work, as you can see. Why? Because we need to move these add tasks. This is the form. We're gonna, inside it, we're gonna create an attribute called onSubmit, and we're gonna give it an add task. We're gonna give it the function of add tasks. Now, if I click on add, you see nothing happens. And we successfully could prevent the default behavior of this element. All right, now let's go for the next step. And actually here we need a condition. We say if the task input the trim. Now, what is task input? Task input should be the value that we get from this input here. And trim actually removes any additional spaces that we add into our value. We say if task input the trim, if there is a task input, if we add something here, then this should follow this object. So the const new task, and the object should contain an ID, and the ID is going to be using the timestamp. This way we make sure that our ID is unique. There should be a text, and text is going to be the task input value. So the thing that we get from here should be our text, and there should be a done status, which by default should be false. Sorry, this is an array. This is an object. So this done status should be false by default. And now let me erase this one, refresh. So the next step, we should set the tasks array, to the array of tasks, and we should add the new task. So what we did here is we say this tasks array, you should get it, and then you need to add the new task to this tasks array, and you need to you need to actually reload the tasks array again. And after that, we need to set tasks input, this one, again to an empty string. I'm going to show you later why we do it, because we want to reset the value inside this input. Now, how we can connect this task input to this input value? It's very simple. Let's copy this task input, and which is actually this use state here, task input. We're going to copy this one. Let's go to form, and this is our input. I'm going to write a value here. The attribute of value should be task input. So simple. And under value, we're going to say the onChange, because we want to manipulate it. OnChange is going to have an event, and it should, let's write set tasks input, set task input actually, and either target.value. So we say that this task input is going to be the value that we put inside this input form, or form input. Now to check our tasks, let console.log new task. And if I console log here Let's open our console, refresh. If I say task 1, you can see that this task is added here. There's an ID which is actually from the timestamp, and this is the text task 1 which we got from here. The value is from here, and there's a done status which by default is false. Now later we're going to change it. Now the reason that we used set task input, let me comment this one, is because if we don't use it, if I say task 1, the task is added, but the value is going to remain there, and every time we need to erase the value and write another one. So if this is a very long value, learn 2 hours JavaScript, so you're going to have to again erase it. So this is just a pain in the nose. So we're going to say, using this set task to empty string, it's going to reset the value. Task 1, sorry, I have to refresh. Task 1, I didn't save it. Sorry. Task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4. So you can just add the task simply and it will reset the value inside this input. So simple. Very good. Now this is it. Let this console log be here for now. And the next thing is that we want these value not to show in consoles. We want them to show in the DOM actually, and we want these values, these LIs, to be actually manipulated. So let's go to our HTML file. As you can see here, we have a UL, that this UL contains the whole LIs. So let me open this one. This is one LI. I'm going to close this one. So I'm going to erase the other LIs. This is another LI and this is another LI. So now I have got just one LI, as you can see. So let's use the map method. So we're going to say tasks and we're going to map through all of them. And we say each task should have, first we need to copy and paste, or cut and paste this LI inside here. And we should say actually that each task should have a key of task.id. So this is the unique task that we use. This is the unique item of the task that we use in order that React can recognize which task is which one. And if I ask 1, 2, 3, 4, you can see that the tasks are added in the console correctly, but in the DOM we have take the trash out. This is because we actually our value here inside this span is hard coded. Now we need to update this one. We're gonna erase this span and we're gonna open and close curly braces, and we're gonna say task dot text. That's it. Now as you can see, the actual value shows up. This is it. Let's refresh. Task 1, task 2, task 3. All right, now before we move on to delete button, I'm going to add something to the project. As you can see, when we click on add, nothing happens, but I want a window alert when we try to submit the form with no value. So I'm going to write another conditional here and I say if task input is, or if there is no task input, or task input is equal to an empty string, you should window.alert with you must write something. So now if I try to add, if I try to submit the form with no value, I get this window alert. But if I create a task, task 1, if I write some actual tasks here, task 2, it's going to get submitted. But with empty value, I'm going to get this window alert. Very good. Now we need to activate this delete button, and how we can achieve that. Let's go under the add task function, and I'm going to write delete a single task. Let's create a function, const let's create a function, const delete task. As a parameter, we're going to get the task ID, and let's set the tasks, tasks filter, and one task is going to be, it's going to get the task ID. And now let's see what this function does. Delete tasks. First, take a look at the array of tasks, and it filters it and says you should just target the task with the task ID that we click on. For example, if we click on this task, you should target the task with the ID of this one. So, and you're gonna return the array again and reload the array, but the task that we click on should be deleted, should be removed. So it says return the array. All the tasks should be there except the task with the ID that we click on. So where do we need to use this function? We need to go to the delete button here, and we're gonna say on click, because this is a click that the event is actually a click, and we say you should call the delete task, and the task.id is actually the this is the parameter that we gave to this function right here. So now before we actually delete the task, let me comment this line of code here, and I'm gonna write console.log task ID. Let's check it first. I'm gonna open the console and let's refresh. Now 1, 2, 3. If I click on this the task number 1, you can see that it targets the ID. Task number 2, it targets the ID of task number 2. Task number 3, you can see that the ID is targeted. So now we know that we are targeting the right thing. Now I'm gonna bring the code back. So if I click on this button, now it's gonna remove the task with that specific ID. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we delete this. Now this is standard that before we delete something, we ask for a confirmation from the user. So let's go to our function, and here I write a condition. I say if window.confirm are you sure, and then this action should be fulfilled. Now if I add some tasks, and if I click on this button, first it's going to ask you, are you sure? And if you cancel, the action is not going to be fulfilled. But if you click on OK, it's going to be deleted. So it is safer that you ask the user one time before he deletes something, because he just, maybe he goes away and clicks on this button without even knowing it, just an accident. And we don't want the user to delete an item by just clicking on it. He has to confirm it. Very good. Now let's go for the next one, which is actually the simplest one, clear all tasks, because it is actually the simplest. Let's go and create this one, and then finally we go for the done button. So down the delete a single task, we say clear all tasks, and we write a function const clear all tasks, and first we're gonna again get a window confirm. We say window dot confirm, and the message is gonna be, are you sure you want to delete all tasks? And then if the user confirms, you should set the tasks to an empty array. It is that simple. Now let's take this clear all function, and let's bring it down to this button, which is clear all. I'm gonna write onClick, and inside this onClick we're gonna add this function. So now if I add many tasks, and if I click on this button, it first is going to ask me, are you sure you want to delete all tasks? If I click OK, all the tasks are going to be deleted. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I click on cancel, it's not going to be fulfilled. One task, with this button, I delete one task, but with this button, I delete all tasks at once. Now there's another thing we want to do. There is no reason for this clear all tasks to be here if we don't have any tasks. So now for this, we can use a conditional sentence. We can say, use curly braces. We say tasks.length. If it's greater than 0, then you have to show, you need to use parentheses. Then you need to show this div. So now when we have no tasks, it's going to go away. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 tasks. If you delete these tasks, it's going to be there because we still have tasks. But if you delete all tasks, it's going to go away. 1, 2. If you even delete one by one, if there is no tasks on the DOM, it's going to realize it and going to remove the tasks. All right, now next we're gonna activate this button, this done button. So when we click on this button, the done status should change to from false to true, and there should be a line through here, and this icon should change from an empty circle to a checked circle. Now let's start from the function. I'm gonna down declare all tasks. I'm going to write a toggle done, const toggle done, and I'm going to give it a task ID as a parameter, and we should say set tasks. So we're going to set the tasks to tasks, and we're going to map through all the existing tasks, and we're going to say there's a task ID. When we click on it, it's going to find it. If it is equal to the task ID in the parameter, what you need to do is to select that task. You're going to select the done status, and you're going to toggle it, task.done. Now, if the user clicks again, you're going to toggle it again. So this is so simple. Now I created the logic for this button. Now let's bring this function down here, and this is where we put our sorry, I think there should be a class name for this button. Yes, there should be class name. I think I erased it. I don't know why. It should be done btn. All right, now this button is the done btn button. So I'm gonna say on click, you need to call for this function, and you're gonna say task.id is the parameter. Now let's make this icon change when we click on this. Let's go up. We have here B chevron down circle, which is the checked circle. So I'm gonna write here if task done is true. So we're gonna bring this icon as the icon, but else if the task done is false, we're gonna show this big circle. Now let me click. Now as you can see, this circle now is a checked circle. It's that simple. But I want a line through this span, which is this one, and I also want the color of this text to be a little gray. So I'm gonna write a class here, a conditional class here, class name, and I'm gonna say if task done is true, you're gonna add the class of done, else you're gonna erase the class name. Now as you can see, the task is line through and the color is gray. This is another task, this is another task, this is a task to learn JS. I don't know, take the trash out, learn PHP, these are my tasks, and if I start clicking them, they will be done one by one. And if I click again, so this is a toggle function, you know. So if you actually regret and if you decide that this task should not be checked, you can just make the state back to false. Also, you can still delete the tasks. Now, if I delete this items, they're gonna be one by one deleted. And if I click on this button, they're all gonna be gone. So now that we have done everything, task 1, task 2, task 3, now that everything works, there is one problem with our application that we need to solve, and that is if we add these, for example, 3 tasks, and if we refresh the page, they're going to go away. This is not what we want. Our project doesn't have actually a database, or there's no place to save and store the data. So, or for example, if I add some tasks, and if I, for example, delete one of them and make one of them done, so these changes I make, they're not going to be worth it, because if you refresh the page or if you close your browser and open it again, they're not going to be there. So we need these tasks to be there if we want it to be a very full functional application, to-do application. So in order to do that, we're going to use local storage. And using local storage, we can save our tasks inside the local storage. Here, let me make this one big. Well, application here, local storage. So with that, we can actually solve this problem. So let's go up of the project here, where we actually defined the tasks, and we're gonna delete this one. I'm gonna enter a few times. Now I'm gonna create const tasks again. Actually, we're not gonna delete it. We needed to change it. Set tasks, and we're gonna set it to use state, but instead of an empty array, we're gonna create a function, and inside that function, we're gonna create a variable called const saved tasks, and we're gonna set it to local storage.get items, and we're gonna set it to a string of tasks. Very good. Now we say return saved tasks JSON parse and saved tasks, or if there's nothing, you should just return an empty array. Now what we need to do, oh sorry, I made a mistake. You don't have to use no, that's it. It's okay. Now let's go for the use effect. Now this is a hook that we use in order for the application to load the right thing. So we're gonna say save the tasks in local storage, and now this is where I should write the comment, save the tasks. Now I write save the tasks in the local storage, and now let's use effect hook. So use effect is going to be our tool to make sure that when the page is loaded, everything is still there. So we're going to say you're going to call the tasks from local storage and set item. We're going to set it to tasks and JSON stringify and just read the tasks. That's it. And we're going to give it an parameter of tasks. That's it. Now I think we have an error because we see nothing here. Let's check the error. Let's reload. Boundary to treat, customize error handling behavior. No, this is the error. LocalStorage get item is not a function. Get item, not items. Now let's refresh. Very good. Now let's add another task. Task number 1, task number 2. Now if I refresh the page, as you can see, the tasks are still there. If I check a task and if I refresh, you see the changes are still there. If I delete this task number 1 and if I refresh, everything is the same. So this is the benefit if you store the data to local storage, because after refresh, or even if you close the browser and open the browser again, so I'm going to open the browser again. Well, localhost 5173. So you see, task number 2 is still there. So if I add other tasks, if I refresh, they are still there. And if I clear all the tasks and refresh, they're gone. So